Hi everyone, this week I decided to choose the question, how do I learn? I felt that best revolved around the reading that I read, and that also it was one I had the most interest in learning more about. So I decided to go with that one. My first question that I decided to use for my personal question is, how can I learn by the Spirit for things not necessarily spiritual? And with that, how do I bring religious concepts into schools without crossing that boundary? And something that I like that was shared with me was that the Spirit dwells in holy temples. And I think that was kind of the point that I got the most out of that. And that's why I kind of wanted to focus on this question the most for the presentation. And I'll briefly go over the other ones as well. But I think the way that you conduct your life as a teacher and as a learner will help you the most in your educational life. I think that it is important to be Christ-like and set an example for people without necessarily crossing that line of bringing religion into schools. And I think that's what will help the most. I also think for learning that the thing will help the most is preparation. And with that, like, if you do the work, you're going to be blessed for doing that. If you study for an A and you pray about it, you'll get an A, But if you study for a C and you pray for an A, you're not going to get that A. Someone brought that point up, which I thought was really smart. And then also in the classroom, just going back to being an example as a teacher, the best way to bring the Spirit into my class will be being an example of Christ, and I love that. The next question that I chose is, what is my personal learning style? Be it visual, vocal, written, and I actually found this diagram here on the side as well that has visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. And I kind of like those four groups, so I broke it down into that. And for me personally, I chose visual and auditory, and I love those ones because for me personally, I feel like I learn by discussing and by seeing things. So if I hear it, if I talk about it, that's kind of how I get things the most. And I like that I was able to learn that this unit. And I also think with that, I learned that communication is kind of key in a classroom, because you're able to figure out a student's learning style that they have and be able to revolve around that. And it's hard because each student's going to have a different one. And with that, you're going to want to have balance in your classroom. So that's kind of what I got out of it for my class, is that I want to have balance with the learning styles, with different assignments, different teaching patterns, so that everyone has the opportunity to learn because they do so in different ways. My fourth slide with my third question is, what in the environment helps a student learn more effectively or can detract from the learning process? So this is kind of just an interesting one. I kind of wanted to know more about it, and I found this cool diagram as well. And it has all these different things that can help or detract from a student's learning. It's all the things that kind of go into that workplace, school, media, all those things that we need to be aware of. And that's kind of what I found out during the reading and learning as well, is outside factors is the main thing that can come into it. But with that, if you create an environment of love and safety, that's going to be the best thing. And I also think interacting with the five senses, sound, what they see, just make it a good environment for them, and it'll be the best that they can be. And those are the questions that I had for this week. Thanks, guys.